good evening, good evening. Happy Friday, we made it. Joy Jackson here, speaking of joy, and I want to thank you so much before we go any further. Thank you so much for participating in the Choose to Challenge with me. We've been doing this every single day this week, and we've made it to Friday. And so I first want to thank you for following me, watching me, sharing this, supporting this. This was an idea that I had just to pay homage to International Women's Day and Women's History Month. And I am so grateful for those of you who have participated, whether you have reflected, whether you have responded, whether you have shared it, or just taken it in for yourself. I am so grateful to you for your participation. So I'm going to recap all the things we've talked about up to now, and then I'm going to give you our last challenge for the day. So Monday, we talked about challenge your thoughts. And really, that was more about you finding the things and identifying the things that are in your head, and then finding ways to challenge those so that you make sure that you're being open and honest, to make sure that you're actually gaining the information that you need, to make sure that you are not thinking with your head, but with your heart and with your mind and with your spirit and with your wisdom. And so that was Monday. Tuesday, I challenged you to challenge your theories. And theories are all about what we assume and how we create the norms or the understandings or the organization in our head. So theories are about you creating the space. Hey, Lenore, creating the space where you are learning and you are figuring out and navigating uncertain spaces. So I invited you to challenge your theories. And then on Wednesday, I invited you to challenge your traditions. Let's be clear, we've all got them. We've got traditions, things that we hold true that have shaped us and made us who we are. And so I challenged you to actually challenge those traditions. Yesterday was one that spoke directly to me, and I had someone reach out to me and say that it was something that was really near and dear to them. And it was to challenge your time. So we talked about this. Let me tell you something. Hey, LaShonda, let me tell you right now, I am a time person. If you know me, that's why some of you may have missed this, because I start exactly at 6. I'm a time person. But if we're not careful and we're not aware, we will find ourselves in a situation where we are challenged our time. And so we're spending so much time in areas and situations where we may not necessarily want to be, that we find ourselves struggling or trying to fit all the things in. And so this young lady reached out to me and said that it really helped her. So I am so grateful that challenging her time was something that she wanted to work on. Hey, Samantha, thank you for watching. So let me tell you, today, my final day, this is one that is, I'm going to tell you a whole lot of stories today, okay? I'm going to tell you a whole lot about what has happened to me over this week. Hey, Rose, thank you for joining. So let me tell you, today, I want you to challenge your tenacity. Now, that's a real big word. Well, not really, probably an SAT word, but challenge your tenacity. And when we talk about challenging your tenacity, the reason I want you to do that is because tenacity is the quality or the fact of being able to grip something. So tenacity is holding on to something tight. It's gripping on, it's locking in and putting your feet down. It's the things that we use to keep us going and to keep us motivated. It's determination. It's persistence. And tenacity is a great thing. But the truth is, when you are tenacious, you want to make sure that you're holding on to the right things. You want to make sure that you're gripping in to the things that are feeding into you, that are supporting you, that are encouraging you, that are making you better. So if it's a relationship that you're holding on to and it's not bringing you joy and it's not bringing you peace, don't be tenacious there. I want you to find the freedom to say, you know what, I want to be better. If it's a conversation, if it's a person in your life, listen, tenacity is great when it's applied in the right direction. So I want you to challenge your tenacity. Now, here is my truthful confession. Okay, I have never done anything like this where I've gone live for 5 days straight. Okay. Part of the reason is because I just didn't think it was much to talk about this long, but more importantly, I've got a whole life, a whole family. I've got all these things that I'm trying to do, and to sit and to be prepared and to study and to pray and to be in a position where I can share and pour into you every day has been a real challenge for me. And not because I didn't want to do it, but truly because life happens, right? Things happen, situations happen. And if we're not careful, we'll find ourselves just kind of moving about in all these areas. So for me, This was a love of tenacity because I committed to you that every single day at 6 p.m. I would go live. And you may not know this, but Monday, I don't go live often. So Monday, I did it from my computer. I didn't know what I was doing. I told a couple people after it was over, I was like, listen, I don't know how that went. But each day I continued to practice. I continued to study and figure it out. And so now I think I got it pretty good. So tenacity is about holding on and not being swayed or not being challenged and moving in a different direction. So I want you to challenge your tenacity. There are probably some things that are in your life that you absolutely need to hold on to. There are probably some dreams and some goals and some ideas and some thoughts and some things that have been deposited into your spirit or deposited into your life that you really need to hold on to. Whether it's a wise saying, whether it's the word of God, whether it is just something that is in you that's coming up and bubbling up. That's what I want you to hold on to. I want you to hold on and grip and to have persistence and determination in those things that are going to bless you. The things that are going to cause you pain or going to challenge you in a way that you don't want to be challenged, those are the things that, and let's be honest, many of us tend to hold on to those unhealthy things, right? Because for many of us, it may be how we're accustomed to, or we it's just easier to do that, harder to challenge the things where we know we want to be better. So in challenging your tenacity, I want you to spend time in all the areas we've talked about, your thoughts, your theories, your traditions, your time, those 4 areas. Now look at tenacity and say, what am I holding on to in those areas that are now time for me to let go? What are the things that I'm really investing in that I need to make sure that I have a grip on in a way that's going to be legacy driven, in a way that's going to be supportive, in a way that's going to be better. So let me tell you, many of you know my story. You know that this time last year I was working, and literally in May I lost my job. And this was an opportunity that God had shown me that I would do what he had called me to do. Now let me tell you, years ago when I was younger, God had shown me that, and I'm a believer, so let me just put that out there. God had shown me that I would be a speaker, that I would speak before thousands. I had no idea how that was going to work. I didn't know what God was doing in that season. And I was so afraid to do it. But I held on to that dream. I held on to that thought and to that idea. And I never wavered from it. But of course, fear took in and responsibilities overtook me. So I never really trusted or stepped out in the way that I needed to. And so in May, as I don't believe in luck, as God would have it, I lost my job. And so for the first time, I was challenged on whether or not I would hold on to the thing that God had promised me. And so for me, I decided in May that I would invest and bet on myself. And I can tell you, it has been a labor of love. It has been such a joy to do. I don't know all that's going to happen. I don't know the future. I don't see how things are going to manifest. But what I do know is if I held on to what God had promised me, that it would come to pass. And so what you're witnessing right now is God's promise to me coming to pass. And I couldn't let any other day go without saying that and helping you to see that if you hold on to those promises and you hold on to those principles and you hold on to the things that are true and real about who you are, you're gonna find joy. You're gonna find peace. You're gonna find happiness. So when you are looking at your life and you're looking at the things that are investing in you or the things that have been spoken to you or the things that you feel in your spirit, if they're things that bring you joy and life abundantly and peace and prosperity, and not prosperity meaning we're doing it for money, but brings you those fruitful things, I want you to be tenacious in those things. Don't let fear stop you, because let me tell you, fear will cripple many of us. Fear will keep us from doing the things that we know we want to do. Fear will keep us from starting a business. Fear will keep us from believing in ourselves. Fear will keep us from even just sharing the word that's been given to us. Fear will cripple us. And I tell you why. Because fear and the enemy, and however you believe in that, knows that if you really get a hold of what is supposed to happen for you, you're going to change lives. And it may not be on a big scale. It may not be that you're speaking to thousands. It may not be any of that. But there are people that you come in contact with every single day whose lives will be the better because you were tenacious and because you held on to those things that you needed to make those investments in yourself so that you could make those investments in other people. So I want you to challenge your tenacity today. Listen, here's the definition. Tenacity is setting a goal so big that you can't possibly achieve it, and then growing into the person who can. I'll say it again because I think that is such a cool quote. Tenacity is setting a goal so big you can't possibly achieve it, then growing into the person who can. And if you are tenacious and if you are committed, you have nothing to do but to succeed. I wish nothing but this month, especially for women, that you find that voice and that purpose that you have, that only you can do, and that you stand up courageously and that you actually take your place in society, in your home, in the world, and that you get a grip and a tenacious grip that is so strong that no matter what you experience, no matter where you go, no matter what trials or tribulations come your way, you are holding on so tight to that commitment that you can't be shaken. And then here's another one that I think is really cool. Courage doesn't always roar. Now, all of us, I'm sure, have seen The Wizard of Oz or The Wiz, right? It was the same story. You had Dorothy, you had Toto, of course, the dog. You had the Cowardly Lion, you had the Tin Man, and you had the Scarecrow. Of course, the Scarecrow wanted a brain, the Tin Man wanted a heart, and the Lion wanted courage. And in the movie, the only way that we saw courage was for the lion to roar, because that meant he was strong and that meant he had the power that he needed. But in reality, courage doesn't always roar. You have the courage. You have the ability. You were built with tenacity. So I want you to challenge your tenacity and challenge yourself to hold on just a little while longer. Thank you so much for joining me over these last 5 days. I hope that you were blessed and inspired. I hope that this spoke to you. And I thank you so much for following Speaking of Joy. I thank you so much for subscribing. I really, really appreciate you, because what I do is not about me. It's truly about serving you and serving what God has given me. So I hope you have a great weekend. Next week, I don't know what we're going to do, but I'll be back and we'll do some great things. Have a good one. Bye-bye.